So we will be taking that and resuming after that. But as far as I can see right now, there's not anybody else who is interested in commenting. So if you want to stick around and hang out with us, that's fine. If you have other things to do, please feel free to go on your merry way. What? Oh, and just to let you know that we will be posting this video online and the transcripts once we get them, so you don't need to feel like you're going to miss anything. Please remember to state your name for the record. Thank you.
My name is Jeffrey Tartagia, and I am newly aware to this. The Sacramento Bee this morning made me aware of this hearing taking place. My background goes through of serving on various duties and, shall we say, committees and other things through there. So a comment is you're going through coming up with these regulations, and to the factor of you're forming and now something that has apparently never been done before as an independent committee is a suggestion you may want to look at perhaps dealing with some grand jury, should we say, correspondence, putting together, should we say, an organization, a body. Amador County, some thesis papers were done at the, should we say, Sacramento University over here, I believe 2004. But anyway, if you look under Amador County, someone suggested of dealing with the training and programming as you're putting this group together. Right now, you've just apparently, this is for dealing with the regulations, particularly that seem of eliminating of interest. But at the same time, you are now proposing of this, that of these regulations, that by that you are going to determine a body of people that you have given them no means of by which they just come together and somehow they figure out how in the world do they form learning how to redistribute the state of California per census districts and county. I'm just making the comment here as a public comment that perhaps you need to, in this regulation, look at some guidelines that suggest to you how you work the group dynamics, not just conflict of interest, but the other part of group dynamics that make for a group, a body, to function, especially when you are forming something that is brand new. And that's what I'm treating this as, is being quanting an independent body, not directed under one guidance or other. So you're forming something that is brand new. And I just alert you to the fact, if you're not aware of it, that someone did a thesis paper in 2004 directed at Amador County because their interest in watching out what Amador County was coming up with of issues related to grand jury duties and functions, that perhaps there is a guide there that might be helpful in offering some direction in jurisdiction of getting the group dynamics of a body functioning. Again, that isn't totally a regulation, but it is just suggestion of, as you're offering regulations here and coming in here, is guidance. How do you get a body of, now you're proposing of this large margin to deal with the state of, I believe, over 30 million people, and you have a representative of, well, you've seen how well, shall we say, our legislator is working together of turn around and doing the best of making the decisions of how do you acknowledge the distribution of people and represent people, and as well turn around and give it where you're directing as the guidance so that people that represent those interests are going to turn around and come up and be an intelligent body to govern and direct with certain issues. That's mostly what my comment is about today, not any specific of restricting any more of regulations through there, but suggesting that in this regard of regulations that perhaps you also need to, again, as being the nebulous that this started out with from the voters telling you that, hey, you know, apparently there's been a problem judging and a problem of when we've seen how districts are formed to somebody's particular interest or whatever, that please, We need to have people come up with and decide that we don't want it represent any one interest. We want it to be as representative of what in the world the community has at large. And that's my comments to you. Again, my name was Jeffrey Tartagia, and I believe that that's something as a public comment that perhaps is a guidance and certainly of interest in watching and observing this process. And I will now pay attention more to what you guys perhaps continue and do with this, and see what perhaps in December you come up with that offers further guidance involvement to this.
Thank you. Do any of the panel members have any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else at this time who would like to provide public comments? Okay. Yeah, that would be best for the video.
Panel members, thank you for taking this time to receive public comment. Let me...
Please state your name for the
I'm
record.
sorry, thank you very much.
Thanks.
My name is Mark Pruner, last name spelled P-R-U-N-E-R. M-E-R-K is my first name. I live over in Yolo County. I have maybe 6 or 7 comments, and if I could direct your attention to each page and ask if you have questions to the comments as we go along. First comment on page 1, section 60800A, subsection 2, reads in its current form, biases for or against any individuals, groups, or geographical areas. I would request that you add in as a third element in that phrase the term economic interests, so that number 2, sub 2 reads biases for or against any individuals, groups, economic interests, or geographical areas. There are 2 reasons for that suggested change. One is that I think economic interests and their biases for or against economic interests goes to the heart of Prop 11 in what it's intended to address. Secondly, the added language is consistent with Regulation Section 60814, which does list economic interests as a criteria. Second suggested change also in page 1 in the same section, moving down to subsection B and subsection 2. So it's 60800B2. B1 begins with the verb having. I believe the verb having should also be added to the beginning of that phrase to make the 2's consistent in their syntax. Second change in line 1 of sub 2 of sub B sub 2. Currently it reads occupational, academic, or life experiences. Seems to me that replacing the word or with the word and more closely addresses what I believe Prop 11 is designed to address in terms of achieving a panel or a commission that has both occupational, academic, and life experiences, so that we again don't pick and choose between folks. So the folks bring to the table all 3 of those characteristics, not just one of the 3 characteristics listed. Page 2, looking at section, by the way, if I can stop here at the end of page 1, do any of you have any questions, comments? Am I full of baloney, etc.?
My question was simply whether on your last comment you're suggesting that qualified applicants would have a particular academic background. Our concern in drafting these was that if we required both